Hi there, this is the Avalanche session and we'll look at the Wyckoff pattern as usual and also resistance and support levels plus a new thing I've introduced because one of you left a comment, and that's the Wyckoff stages in the daily chart. So let's get started. So this is the weekly chart and currently AVAX is coming down to a point where it's very close to where we started last week. So you see this green candle last week that opened at around $16.50, right? We are not too far, only 70-80 cents roughly to that point. So it's getting really close to this blue support line. So that's the first support level at around $16. I would say let's drag it down a little at $16.50 roughly. And then the next support line would be the white. The white is the long-term playground zone bottom edge. You see the top edge and then bottom edge here. That's around $10.30 roughly. That may not be the lowest point if we take reference of late or autumn 2023. So Wyckoff pattern, we know we are likely in the accumulation stage. We have seen probably the selling climax already, automatic rally back in early mid-May. The past 2 weeks, second test. Currently, it's probably trying to go up or down, fluctuate a little, either heading for another test, much like what we have seen in 2022 to 2023 or even 2024. Before we come to see a sign of strength. So let's see when the price would come to this yellow line or like go above it to a level similar to the automatic rally. Then that's probably a sign of strength signal similar to this one. So right now expect the price to bounce between the yellow and the blue. The yellow first resistance, $20.80 roughly. Second resistance, there's one here at around $25. So let me draw one more line over here. $20.50. Let's do this over here. I think that's probably right. So I'll change this to orange. So when we talk about it, I can refer to it easier. So that's the big picture. In terms of volume, more or less the same, hasn't changed much. In an accumulation cycle that's understandable, it won't be too crazy until a point where it's about to shoot up, then it will change. So daily chart. So here, basically this box has been drawn if you have been following the sessions, my sessions, for at least a week. So this downward trend is still continuing. We have covered probably last week because you always see this triangle, right, if you're not new to these sessions. So we're getting closer and closer to this. I mentioned last week that we only have a week or two time before we reach the middle of the month. That's where the tip is, and usually the prices won't more than not that they won't get to the tip before they do a breakout. So this time, same thing, either they follow the trend and break this blue support line at $16.50 around, or it has to break outside of this downward trend. So it is possible in a way because if we see what happened here, right, a large part of the time between March to early May, the price of AVAX has been trading within these two blue lines, these two horizontal blue lines. So it can absolutely happen. So enough for the old stuff. Let's come to the new thing. I've mentioned in many previous sessions that one of you left a comment and want to see like a Wyckoff at a lower level timeline. Sorry I can't do it at a level lower than the daily because it's very noisy. It's basically distorting the patterns, and the big guys, they just don't want to get to the intraday level. I mean the real big whales. So let's do it for the weekly at the moment. So here, yep, we're at Avalanche, and I want to start with buying climax as always. So let's say this was the buying climax. See this line over here? Yeah, let's say this was the buying climax. And we have this second test. And then we have an LPSY, last point of supply. So, assuming we have our selling climax over here, that was the PS, the preliminary support level. Yeah, I'll skip that because otherwise it will become too busy. The chart will become too busy. So let's say this was the automatic rally that we have just seen. The past few, or actually the past week, we had the automatic rally. Let's assume that way. And the last selling climax was here. We had the second test, or you can call it a spring. Obviously there was an automatic rally much higher than the current one. So remember, if you haven't seen the other sessions yet, the earlier sessions that I did with this daily Wyckoff, always consider the higher level first when you get to the lower level. So we are in a downtrend, or in a stage where we don't expect a crazy rise yet. When we get to daily, have that in mind. Yes, there may be ups, but the ups won't go higher than what we're expecting on the bigger picture, right? If you look at this, you see this long leg up, right? So yeah, then we can expect something big happen, even on the daily chart if we're on over here. But if we are over here, if there's some sort of rising happening in the daily, like these, we won't expect it to go crazily high because the big picture is coming down. There may be green stakes, a little bit of rebound, but they can retreat pretty quickly. So that's the important point when playing with analysis on different timelines. So let's go back to this Wyckoff. Here we have seen, let's mark the sign of strength as well. So that's what we're trying to look at, right? So obviously we can say, it's close to probably another second test is about to finish, and it may have a sign of strength coming. So, there may be a chance that it tests this resistance line at around or close to $23. That can be one possibility. Or if we're saying, okay, this test is going deeper than the selling climax, that's another option that's going to happen. So be prepared for any scenario by setting a stop loss. Okay, there's no crystal ball that we have that tells us what's coming next, especially in a daily time frame. That's even more difficult. So see, I'm not sure whether you find this interesting. I'll thank again for that particular comment, because now we have something new, probably even more fun or more quick than just looking at weekly, because weeks over weeks the Wyckoff pattern may not change much. But if we look at daily, the events seems to be more frequent, and that hopefully can provide you with